Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk a comedy drama film called Miller's Girl from 2024. A lot of interesting things are waiting for you. Cairo has just recently turned 18. Her parents like to travel abroad, and because of this, she lives alone in a large house. She is very fond of literature, and it is the only thing that keeps her from being sad alone. She has one wish: to be loved. Today, something new will happen in her life, and she will be able to meet a writer like her. The girl meets her new teacher, whose name is Jonathan. He gets inspired in this remote town. Cairo comes to class before everyone else, and this surprises Jonathan. He asks her where she lives. They tell each other about their lives. Jonathan is amazed that Cairo has read the entire syllabus. Cairo jokingly replies that she likes it tougher. Then Winnie comes into the classroom and takes his friend away to talk. While they are gone, Jonathan looks at Cairo's books. He is distracted by Boris, and he immediately realizes that Jonathan is reading the girl's book because the plot of the book is very interesting. Men would not read it. Cairo likes to read the book written by Jonathan. It turns out that he lives with his wife Beatrice, who is also a writer. He tells her that his student is reading his book. The couple starts to dance, but they are distracted by a call from Amy. A new day comes, and the teachers are resting, sitting on a bench and drinking coffee. Boris wonders if the forest is haunted. A moment later, Cairo comes out of the forest and walks right up to the teachers. Boris offers them cookies, and Jonathan can't take his eyes off Cairo. A little later, Winnie tries to get Boris' attention. She says directly that she is interested in their conversation. Cairo calls her friend strange. The girl admits that it is difficult for her to find a topic for her future book. Winnie suggests that they relive a moment that will help them find a topic for a new book, such as intrigues with teachers. The problem is that none of them have ever had a serious relationship. Winnie wants her first date to be with Boris, and Cairo also needs to realize that Mr. Jonathan looks at her in a special way. However, Cairo denies everything, and she reads Jonathan's book for the rest of the day. During class, they can't take their eyes off each other. Jonathan asks her to come over to his place after class, and Cairo's mind keeps on spinning with the same desire to get his full attention. A little later, Jonathan decides to dance a little, but he is distracted by Cairo. She promises him that she will not disclose his passion. Jonathan suggests that she go to a poetry club, because maybe something will surprise her there. He read her last work and liked it very much. Cairo starts to feel very shy and explains to the teacher what her essay was about. Jonathan laughs and suggests that she write a story in the style of her favorite author. Cairo agrees to the assignment and says that she has read his book completely. She repeats a few phrases from the book that she liked the most. Jonathan doesn't even know what to say to that. Cairo interrupts the pause in the conversation and apologizes. Suddenly, Winnie enters the classroom, and the girl and the teacher finish their conversation. Today, the teachers and Beatrice visit the cafe where Vinnie works. Boris makes fun of the girl, and Beatrice asks him how beautiful the girl who read Jonathan's book is. He replies that she is very smart and unique. Beatrice decides to tell him that Jonathan is not a writer, and he chose to be a teacher. After that day, he never wrote another book. Tomorrow, Cairo is going to attend a literary evening. She feels that this day will be very important for her. Jonathan is happy to see her, and a guy comes on stage to read his work. Jonathan listens attentively, but Cairo looks only at Jonathan. The next day, she brings coffee to the teachers. Boris shares his cookies. Cairo doesn't understand why Boris makes such delicious cookies, but he doesn't tell anyone. He could sell the cookies, and Winnie could create a logo. The girls visit Jonathan, and he tells them that he is going on vacation with his wife. Winnie sees Jonathan and Cairo chatting as if they are having fun with each other. When the teachers leave, she suggests that Cairo make the first move and get closer to Jonathan. Their conversation is interrupted by Boris. He has decided to sell cookies, and Winnie quickly joins their team, and all she needs is his phone number. That day, Cairo calls Jonathan, and he promises to stop by before he leaves. Cairo reflects on the fact that true love is quiet and calm. A few hours later, Jonathan arrives at Cairo's house. She comes out of the house dressed in a white dress. All Jonathan can do is stand there and watch her walk toward him. Cairo stops and asks him to come to her, but Jonathan still stands still. Then Cairo makes the first move, which leads to a kiss. After returning home, he keeps receiving messages from Cairo. Beatrice is annoyed by these messages, and this forces Jonathan to go to a place where no one will bother him. There he begins to read Cairo's new book and imagines himself as the main character in the book. A new day comes. Cairo notices Jonathan's strange behavior and asks him what's wrong. Jonathan replies that she needs to choose a new author for the story. She claims that he asked her to write a storybook about a topic she knows. Jonathan asks if it is true that she knows the topic. Cairo replies that this book is about them. She looks at the confused teacher and tells him that this book is about two similar people who reject social constraints. Jonathan still thinks the book is too adult. Cairo is sure he is scared and they are no longer strangers. Jonathan tries to explain that she is his student and he is his teacher. Cairo still wants recognition and says that her work is great, but Jonathan just doesn't want to admit it. She calls him a man without ambition. He could be much better, but right now he's irresponsible. Before she leaves, the girl leaves her story in the box for the administration. In the evening, the friends meet up, and Winnie asks Cairo if she likes Jonathan. Cairo calls him bad names, but she still loves him. At this time, Beatrice learns about what his student wrote, but Jonathan does not admit that the story was written about him and Cairo. Beatrice manages to convince him to tell her about the story. Cairo suggests that Winnie write to Boris, and she does so. Boris comes to visit Jonathan's family, and Beatrice notices that he is corresponding with someone, but does not tell anyone about it. The conversation moves to another level, and Boris turns off his phone. Jonathan receives a call from the administration accusing him of inappropriate behavior with Cairo. He is told that if they can prove it, he will lose his job. Beatrice says that he will lose more than just his job. She asks him to tell the truth, but Jonathan says that nothing happened. The next day, Cairo skips class, and Winnie looks very confused. She tries to make Jonathan look guilty, but he looks as cold as can be. Later, Cairo goes to the principal and describes their adventures with the teacher. Jonathan has to defend himself. He is lucky that their stories match. When asked the final question, Cairo says that she liked everything that happened. Obviously, Jonathan doesn't know what she answered, and this question confused him a lot. During the break, Boris realizes that Jonathan has fallen in love with Cairo. He was unlucky because he did not see the line that should not be crossed. That's why he got into this situation. When he comes home, Beatrice asks him questions. Beatrice does not believe his lies. Jonathan cannot deny that something happened between him and Cairo. This has become the last words, and Beatrice is preparing to file for divorce. Vinny goes to Cairo and asks her not to ruin Jonathan's life. She will ruin his life just to get back at him for rejecting her. Vinny says he will defend Jonathan and tell her that Cairo is lying. She quickly replies that Vinny can't do that because she has dirt on her and Boris. When Cairo finishes writing the book about her and Jonathan, the movie ends. In the movie, we learned that age does matter in a serious relationship. Jonathan was very close to crossing that line and ruining his entire life because no one would have understood him. But at the last moment, he decided not to. Cairo, on the other hand, did all this for her own benefit, to write her book. After watching the movie, one can only guess whether the girl really felt something for Jonathan. Do you think age really has any effect on a serious relationship, or does it not?